everybody, Kathryn Anderson here, and I want to talk to you today about a study that was done back in the 90s that really helped expand our appreciation and knowledge about how our brain and our body responds to trauma over time. It's called ACES, the Adverse Childhood Experience Survey. And what happened was there were two doctors, one with Kaiser and one with the CDC, who started to notice correlations between long-term physical effects of trauma and long-term physical effects in their patients who had childhood trauma. So they got together and they did a survey of 17,000 Kaiser patients, and the survey consisted of 10 questions. And it's a very simple survey, and basically the higher your score, they found that there was a correlation to many diseases such as liver disease and heart disease and lung cancer, COPD, obesity, depression. And so this is really what they consider to be an unacknowledged health crisis in our nation. And several states have passed legislation to provide funding for awareness, screening, and early intervention. And my goal is to work with adults. There are a lot of people working on the early intervention side, which is awesome and so necessary. But for adults who suffered that experience as a child, then they may need some extra help later on from somebody who really understands trauma, and that's what I'm looking to provide. So the trauma that we're talking about, sometimes people don't even recognize that they were traumatized. It can be things like your parents divorcing, or having a parent who was mentally ill, and that can be as innocuous as depression. And I think sometimes we just accept things that, oh, that's just the way it is. But some of the things that we live with as children follows us the rest of our lives unless we learn how to transform it into something that's helpful or not as hurtful. So what are some of the other things? So there's emotional abuse, which could be somebody yelling at you and telling you that you're stupid or you're fat or you're never going to amount to anything. That's abusive. That's very hurtful to a child who doesn't have any other frame of reference, and they internalize that. Emotional neglect can be not being able to show your child that you love them. So parents who are just very distant, maybe they're caught up in their own issues that they're trying to deal with, and they just don't have any love to give. That's a form of emotional neglect. And there's physical abuse and physical neglect, not having enough food, not having secure housing is traumatic. Let's see, there's sexual abuse, which has its own unique set of issues that plague a victim who becomes a survivor and hopefully a thriver. If you had a family member who was incarcerated, or if one of your parents had a substance abuse issue, so many people struggle with drugs and alcohol, and that can be really traumatic as a child. And so if you have a couple of those, it can start to pile on the effects. So what they have found through their survey is that about 2/3 of the population have at least one of those in their childhood, and about 20-something%, 23% I think it is, have 3 or more. And if you get to 6 or more, they say that your lifespan might be cut short by 20 years. That's what the statistics say. And So on the flip side, the positive is that resilience is the number one thing that can help people respond to trauma, whether it's trauma from the past or whether you're trying to resolve it now as an adult. So one of the things that we talk about in the book and also in the online program is how to build resilience in your life. So I hope you will join me, and I have a link in the book, and I will also post it with this video for the ACES survey, so you can take it yourself and see, and you know that there are many other people out there who have had these experiences and maybe struggling with the same issues that you are, and you don't have to be alone, and you don't have to be ashamed. So I hope this was interesting and helpful to you. Please leave a comment below, and I look forward to our next video together. Thanks.